And that's why you're not Dan? What's going on, everybody? This is the Coverbandconfidential podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more inside glass. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson, and joining me this week is not Dan. In his absence, I reached out to my buddies in the NAMM House group chat, and Matt from Guitar Dads was like, dude, my co-host is on his anniversary date tonight, so I got nothing going on. So here he is.
Hey, everybody.
So, Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. Guitar Dads podcast's been going on about 4.5 years now. It's everything guitar. It's really guitar, but it's music related too. We get into the music as well, where we like to talk about people we like in different bands and stuff like that. But you know, we get into the guitar gear pretty hard as well. So we kind of deep dive like you guys do here as well. But let's see, you know, I've played in cover bands most of my time here, most of my career. And I currently play in like a cover band. It's like a dance kind of party band where we run everything from, like rock and funk and all kinds of different things. It's a dance party band, right, is what it is. So I've been in that band, coming on like 8 years now almost. Really? Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's been a long time. Been through, like, probably all too. It's been through a couple of different iterations of the band, and we've been in this current one for about 3 years now, and it's been going great. And so it's good. So I sing in that band and play guitar. That's what I do. And I don't know, what else you want to know about me, Adam? Those are the key things related to this podcast.
Yeah, basically, the idea here, I've got to prove your worth to make sure that people are like, what?
Like, who is this guy?
Yeah. Why should we listen to this?
Why should we listen? So there you go. So yeah. I've been playing in cover bands a long time, guys. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot and seen it all, right? And I've played in bands I played in original bands too, not kind of the level that you have, Adam. It was more like, the bar scene in Boston.
Yeah.
As I was growing up, and it was a lot of good times, a lot of different bands. I played solo for a while, just like a solo acoustic thing, like a singer-songwriter thing for a long time. Had some success there, which was fun. Did like small kind of tours of this area, and then I realized that, like, my rock and roll dreams were probably not going to come true. So then I went to the cover band land, and then I've been there ever since. So.
Yeah, it's crazy to get paid to do this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, man, I could actually play. That's the other thing. Like, I could play for a lot of people and actually get paid, as opposed to, like, smaller places and not get paid and all that stuff. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Same amount of work.
Right.
No money,
right.
yeah.
Right.
And I guess, it's probably clear to anybody with ears that you are not from where I'm from, theoretically.
Boston. Well, I'm not from the actual place of Boston.
Yes,
but I grew up in the area. So, and I'm still
a New Englander
in the Boston area. I'm a New England area. Yeah. That's
now.
So.
I lived 6 years in New Hampshire as a kid, so there's a part of me
that's right.
that
I remember
is
we
very,
talked about that.
Yeah. There's definitely some overlap of the stuff that I like that, you can only get up that way. And my wife loves it up there. If she had her druthers, we'd summer at the Cape,
The Cape's beautiful. I don't like the Cape all that much because it's a disaster and there's too much traffic. So I live on the other side of the state. But it's really, I live near the other Cape we call it, which is called Cape Ann, which is where Gloucester is. I don't know if you know about Gloucester, or how we call it around here, Gloucester. So I live on that kind of side of the state, up there in the North Shore of Massachusetts is where
Nice.
I live. So yeah, but it's beautiful. But the Cape is beautiful too. It's a beautiful space.
And you were kind of mentioning in the pre-show that, like, that cover band work up there feels kind of seasonal. It's like a warm weather kind of deal.
Well, this all year. It happens, of course, all over the place all year, but it does ramp up because, like, the outside venues get going in the summer. You wouldn't think, like, in an area like this that gets very cold, that there'd be a lot of stuff over the summer with outdoor stuff, but we get, it's great up here in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, so there's so many places that open up that are seasonal, and they do like outdoor shows, like out on their decks. And so we kind of get involved in that a lot. up here, and we ramp up a little bit. I also think like people are much more willing to go out into those areas over the summer, whereas maybe it's a little bit harder in some other places when it's colder, So, but it's a year-round thing. Like there's plenty of bands around here that work every weekend, every place. There's a bunch of places to play. I would say my band is more on like the kind of outskirts of the city itself. So it's like in the suburbs. There's like a whole different scene in the suburbs than there is like in the city itself, where you get like the giant college bars and all those things where you have these kind of like regional touring cover bands that come through and play. And it's just mob with like 2,000 college kids. I used to go to all those shows when I was in college. It was a great time. And some of the bands are incredible.
Yeah.
So you had those like real like pro cover bands that come through and play those places. We're actually now have kind of broken into a couple of those places out in the burbs that are more like college bars, and they get a great like crowd of college kids, and we just have a great time with them. It's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good scene up here. Like any other scene, it's pretty saturated with bands, as you can imagine. So like the best places that have like more of the built-in crowds, very hard to get into. We've had to really work our way up to get into that, and thankfully, whatever we did the right thing, because now that's what we do. So it's really good. Yeah,
it's just interesting because you realize, talking to different musicians from all over, that everybody's market is very different, and like what I'm accustomed to down here in the Metro Atlanta area is very different than like that whole Eastern Corridor, New York, New Jersey kind of deal. Because we have a lot of guys that play Jersey Shore in the summer. That's like their big.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Jersey Shore. We played. One of the places that we kind of added to our list of places this year is up in Maine, actually, a beach called Old Orchard, up in Maine, which is like, kind of like it's kind of like a Jersey Shore type of a vibe, not quite like Jersey Shore, but it's kind of that type of vibe. It's like, it's like a boardwalk, and there's like a, I don't know, I guess there's like, I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff up there, right? Yeah. And we played a couple of shows out there. And it was great. It was just like outdoor. They have like, this place has an amazing kind of patio right on the beach. Like you literally step off the beach onto this. So it was just, we had some great gigs up there over the summer. Just people just having a great time on a warm summer night in New England. Just great times. So
that's I just love that you have good summer nights, because it's
Can
just
you imagine?
hot and miserable where we are.
Well, that's what it is. That's why the outdoor stuff really ramps up, because and the night we did it wasn't like one of the hot, because we get the kind of humid hot nights up here. Probably not like where you're getting in Atlanta, but we do get them where it's really hot. It's still like 85 degrees at night. Yeah. We've had those shows. Actually, we had a show where my band plays where it's like a patio show, but it's at like a function place, and they pulled it inside at our date because it was like 100 degrees that day, and we actually did it inside in the ballroom, which was great. It was actually a little bit better because the patio they have set up as a small stage. You're kind of crammed in a corner. It's not actually, there's no stage. You're just on a patio in the corner. It's not great. So it was really great to be on like this big stage inside in the ballroom. So it worked out. But yeah, so that does happen to us. But we had a couple of perfect nights, like just like cool breeze coming off the ocean, people having a great time. Yeah, it was great.
That sounds rad. The cool thing about this week is that there were some things that like you guys would normally talk about on your show, and then stuff that like we talk about on our show, and it just kind of all worked together. Now, the way that we typically do this is that if we're going to do any sort of like gear related conversations, we do them before the businessy, musicy conversation. So
okay. All right. Yeah.
That's what we'll transition into. And this was something that I experienced today that has been a very hot topic in the NAMM House group chat. And I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time, and went to Guitar Center and got to play two guitars primarily. The new 59 Les Paul Epiphone Gibson inspired custom series, whatever they call that.
Inspired by Gibson custom, yep.
And the brand new Gretsch Falcons that they're making in China.
Right.
And it was shocking how
yeah, you said you were shocked by this.
Guys, they are so good. Like, so good.
Yeah.
And the through line is that, like, these import guitars, these $12.99, $9.99 import instruments are some of the best playing guitars I've played, like, end of sentence.
Yeah, you don't even say like they're good for an import.
Yeah.
You say they're just good guitars. And yeah, so we've talked a lot about these guitars on my podcast where we talk about, you know, how do you feel about a $1,200 import guitar, right? When you're used to getting like a Squier Classic 5 for $500 or along those lines, right?
Yeah.
Or the Epiphones that are like whatever they are now, 600 or something. Yeah. And they've really stepped it up now with these, but the quality has stepped up as well. So you actually inspired me, Adam. I hadn't had hands on one of these Epiphones yet, and so I was at work today. I was close to a guitar center, went over there after work, had to get hands on one, and you are right, they are shockingly good. Talking about the Les Paul,
yeah,
just like shockingly good. How good! Like I picked it up and I couldn't kind of put it down. Like they were really played incredibly well, and I plugged it in. It sounded really good. I think they have the USA pickups in them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that really makes a giant kind of a difference there. It does. But yeah, they're doing it right. They're doing it really right. And so what you see actually over my head here is the DG335, which is an Epiphone inspired by custom as well. Mm-hmm. And the thing is incredible as well. Now, I've been talking about getting rid of it because I don't play it a lot. You know why? It has a chunky neck. I don't love the super chunky neck to it. But it's still a great guitar, and it sounds incredible.
Yeah, so. And that is the Epiphone thing, is that D-shape neck. Right, I've got one right here.
Oh, you do?
This this Explorer is an Epiphone.
Oh yeah, the Lima Leah. Yeah.
And it's got that D shape to it.
Yeah.
And it's thicker than I prefer, but it's got all the other stuff that I like.
Yeah, it plays great. Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to get rid of this thing because I've always wanted a DG.
Yeah.
And they're like $15,000 if you see one, right? So
but and actually I sent Matt a clip of me playing this 59 where I just rip a note and it just never stops. And like, I don't know how many times.
It was a Spinal Tap moment.
It 100% was. It on a 59, no less, you know?
Right.
You go out, have a bite, you know? It was the exact same. That's pretty funny. But I've played thousands of guitars and you know, just to have that experience on something that, you know, a lot of folks frankly don't take seriously is pretty wild. And
they should. They don't, and they should. Now, like the discussion we had was, you know, for about $1,300, you get a great guitar like that. Is it worth that, or is it worth kind of scouring the used areas or markets and trying to get a Gibson for around that same price, or maybe a little bit more, right? Because it is hard to come by like a USA standard for less than, you know, $1,800. You can find them for $15 if you're looking hard, and they may be a little bit beat up, and it's got a plain top. You can find them for that kind of cash, but yeah, I don't know.
But that's the thing, though, is that the other thing about Gibsons that you have to be careful about is that their QC is super wonky.
Great point. Yeah, so great point.
There might be a good reason why this specific Les Paul is not going for as much as the other ones on Reverb.
It's a great point.
The QC on these Epiphones are phenomenal.
Yeah, the fact that you played one and then I played one and it was great as well. Yeah, I mean, they're really good. The neck is so good. They nailed that 59 neck. Not too chunky, not too thin. They really nailed it. And I played a bunch of R9. I don't own an R9. I'd love to own an R9. I've toyed with the idea of selling I have two standards that I've toyed with the idea of getting rid of those and getting an R9. But I love my standards so much. One of them's right there behind me as well. But I played a lot of R9s, and they kind of nailed it. I mean, I'm telling you.
Like, eyes closed, blindfolded, I don't know. Like, it's real close.
It's real close.
You'll feel it probably in the finish because what they're doing is this kind of it's this very kind of thin satin poly that is sort of matte, but like if you
sort of matte.
You hold it, it feels like, if you don't know what you're looking for, I think it'd be pretty easy to fool somebody.
I'm glad you brought that up because I hated the older Epiphone Poly. It just felt like plastic to me.
Yeah.
And, Dave and I have talked a lot on the podcast about, like, I just love the nitro. I'm a nitro snob.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have nitro. Although I do have a Cower Banshee and he doesn't use nitro. And Doug Cower was on our podcast and talked about why he doesn't like it. But he's doing it right with whatever he's doing with his Poly. But I think you're right. Epiphone kind of got it right where it's not sticky, doesn't feel overly plasticky. I think you're right. Maybe back to back, you might feel a difference, especially if it's like a Murphy Lab or something. You might feel a difference. Yeah.
It's crazy to me that, like, I mean, they made a big stink about the whole process that they were, they brought all of their American folks over to these factories and like brain dumped into, these workers, and that they found this amazing blend of whatever to make these products, and these guitars are like, they're just cranking them out and they're phenomenal.
And the other thing I played when I was there was the SG with the Vibrola.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the Inspired by Gibson Custom, also real good. And I gotta be honest, I was really worried about the bridge, if it was going to stay in tune. You don't, with the Vibrola, you don't like, it's not a Floyd Rose, you know, you're not like, you're not doing dive bombs with this thing, but it was working well. It stayed in tune. And the same thing, I thought the quality of it was great. It felt good. I'm tempted by that because I don't own an SG.
Yeah. And
if I own an SG, I would want a 60s one with the Vibrola.
Right.
So that's tempting. But the other thing I'll say, and this is a little bit snobby, Adam, I don't know how snobby you get on your pod.
Not
here.
terribly, but go for it. It's a safe.
The snobby thing for me is they have the open book headstock on these.
Oh yeah,
like the Gibson style headstock. But to me, like, I look up on it and it says Epiphone, it just throws me off completely. And that's just stupidity and it's snobbiness and it's ridiculous. But if you can get over that, they're just incredible guitars. They really are.
Well, and I think Epiphone knows what they're doing.
Yep.
They know that there's cachet in that open book headstock. They know. That was a calculated decision that they made that says, hey, these are different than the other ones.
Right. We've stepped it up.
Yeah. And it's really fun and very in vogue to rag on Gibson. But
that's true.
This is not one of the things that I fault them for. Actually, while I was at the store, my Gibson rep guy was there.
Oh, really?
Jeff Sprayberry,
cool.
who I've known forever.
Cool.
And we've done a pre-release review on one of their Epiphone lines like a couple of years ago. But these guitars are special. And I don't know how else to put it. The acoustics are, if you can believe it, I think they're better than the electrics.
I ran out of time. I wanted to go there and try the acoustics. I'm in the market. This is another thing we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you've listened to my podcast, I'm in the I've been teasing like getting a J45 for a long time now because I used to do like the solo acoustic thing, and then I went hard into the electric and got rid of my acoustics to fund my electric habit. And I used to have a Taylor. My pride and joy was my Taylor. It was a 514 CE. It was just an incredible guy. I had it for 20 years, but I had to move on. I wasn't inspired by it anymore. But this is interesting to hear because, they're pricey, these J45s, right? So so that's why I've been kind of holding out. Maybe one pops up used and it's going to be the right thing. But yeah, so if you're saying those are good, that might be something I have to look into and get over my snobbery.
The thing is that I don't know whatever it is about these instruments, but like they feel expensive.
Okay.
And that's kind of an esoteric way of explaining it. Yeah. But that's what, like, when you pick one of these up, it does, again, you're not feeling that sticky, thick polyester finish. Like, it feels well made. It feels like there's some attention paid to them.
Yeah, that's great. No, I agree. That's how they feel. That's how they feel with the other guitars. So if the acoustics are the same, I feel like acoustic is a different kind of a thing, right?
Sure.
Like as an example with acoustic, I would have a hard time, and maybe this is just a hang up I have because I don't have a lot of acoustics. I only have like one right now. Mm-hmm. Is that like I wouldn't want to buy one sight unseen.
Sure.
Right? Because I really believe that it's different from acoustic to acoustic.
Sure.
Real, like guitar to guitar, really much more kind of than it is with with a regular, like with like a solid body electric guitar.
Right.
And some people will say like, well, no, that's not really true. Different guitars sound different ways. I mean, we could get into the tone wood thing. Let's not go down that path. But at the same, like you said, like if the QC is good, if it's well made, the pickups are there, they're going to be pretty comparable from guitar to guitar. I mean, yes, sometimes the setup is wrong. The neck maybe wasn't carved great. Yeah, there are some little subtleties, but at the same, like I feel pretty good with like a sight unseen, ship it to me.
Sure.
I feel pretty good about that. With acoustics, I just wouldn't be comfortable at all.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's fair.
Anyway, yeah.
I mean, the thing that I always check is just that is the resonance. Like
Yes.
I very rarely plug an electric guitar in when I'm trying it out.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I just want to.
They can be dead. You're right.
I just like I want to know what it does, and like that's like the first sign to me that I'm onto something. Like, okay, it's really projecting. I'm making noise with this thing not plugged in, and whatever that resonance or however you want to quantify it. That's when I'll be like, okay, well, let's see how it does. But like the videos that I post when I'm going into Guitar Center, like I never play them through an amp. I pick them up.
You just pick them up and
you give them.
That's you. Yeah.
And then you're like,
the
yeah, immediately I know I like this or I don't like this.
Right. And I feel like the Epiphones that I picked up today, they had that. Like you could feel it, like, you know, the vibration against your body when you're kind of strumming them when they're not plugged in. Yeah, totally.
And so that was the big tell for me. And so I did plug it in and, of course, had that beautiful moment with a Les Paul and a 5150. Yeah.
Went to 11.
Absolutely. And not to like outshine this, but like the Gretsch was equally as impressive. And those are two guitars at the exact same price point. They're $12.99. But I'll tell you this, if you put two of those guitars next to each other, one was the OG full price one, and the other one was the import version, you couldn't tell by looking at them.
You couldn't tell.
And
wow.
you probably couldn't tell by picking them up necessarily.
Wow. That's amazing.
It was real close. I mean, the fit and finish on these things were gorgeous. It's got the gold sparkle binding,
really?
Like it's
the
jeweled knobs. The experience was there, and I was like, this can't be that good. And so I put it down and I picked up a Tennessee Gentleman, like a full, a whole milk.
Yep, the whole milk version.
$3,500 Gretsch.
Yeah, they're like $4,000. Yeah.
The only one that really jumped out at me is feeling different. They had one of the Brian Setzers there, but the thing about that specific model is the finish is intentionally like super thin.
Super thin, yeah.
And so it feels more like an acoustic because of the way that it's constructed. But the other two, I don't think you could tell.
Man, that's great to hear. So I didn't, again, I was kind of in and out of there quickly, but I saw them there. I just didn't quite have the time to put it through those paces. The other thing is, like, I'm not a big Gretsch guy, so I don't know that my opinion on those is worth all that much. Because I'm not a big Gretsch. Are you a Gretsch guy?
Oh, yeah.
You are, yeah. It sounds like you are, yeah.
White Falcon is one of those, like, it's a grail for me personally. It's part of the reason why I found Cower in the first place, because I've got a Cabernet Telly.
He does those vibes.
Yeah, so he'll do at that point, like, they were doing the 3 pickup Fidelitron Banshees that was like, they were cranking. I was like, oh my God, cool. This guitar is amazing. And you want to go in and pick one up and be like, I don't like this. Now, the only thing that I lucked out on is I picked one up that had like a 57 style. It was like a big, thick neck. And Doug's on top of it, man. I posted that to my story on Instagram. And he immediately DMs me and he's like, oh, you're at Alpharetta Guitar Center? Because he knows that guitar.
Knows exactly which guitar is which. No, that's how Doug rolls. He knows every guitar. He's kind of unbelievable like that.
And so, I messaged him back. It's like, it was gorgeous. I love it so much. I just, I wish the neck was a little bit thinner. And he's like, oh, well, we can make you one. I was like, I'm sure you would. Nothing would make me happier. And I'll tell you, did
he make you one, Adam? No,
he did not.
Oh,
well, actually, You know what? I take that back. He did. He just didn't know it. The guitars that they put out at NAMM this year.
My God, those are right up your alley, man. With the '80s vibes.
With the
I remember we talked about
paint.
Those.
Oh my God,
right? We talked about those a lot that week.
Them and GNL.
Right.
both had killer finishes on theirs. I don't know if we want to get into that, finding out that they furloughed their factory workers.
Yes, I heard about that. That's terrible.
Oh
man.
G&L has been on an absolute tear this year, and I would hate to think that people would be deprived of the privilege of like getting to play those guitars, because like
they're great.
They're phenomenal. The first like real pro guitar I ever had was a G&L from the 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, they are. They're one of those guitars though, like those brands that kind of flies under the radar a little bit, right? But like people need to understand how good they are, right? Like even the booth at NAMM, it was like kind of, wasn't all that flashy. It was kind of off to the side. And then you picked up some of these guitars, especially the higher end ones, and you were like, these are incredible.
Anytime I see somebody playing a G&L, I'm like, oh, this guy's smart.
This guy knows what's up, right? Because you can get them used really cheap. I mean, let's just be honest, because they just don't have the, it's just not there. But yeah, they're great.
They were putting out like straight heat at NAMM, the splatter paint deal, with the custom graphics and the finishes. Just like, I went over there, I was just like, you guys are crushing it. So it just kills me.
You brought us over there because you kept talking about it. You're like, you guys got to go see G&L. And we're like, all right, fine, we'll go see G&L. Jeez, Adam. And we were like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? We're sleeping on these things. These are great. Yeah.
It was that and micheladas at the taqueria. It's like, guys, you got to have one of these things.
That's right.
You're from up north. You've never had one of these.
I totally forgot about the michelada. Yeah, you totally convinced me to get the michelada. That was good, though. Man, that was good.
The whole ethos of this show is like, I just like sharing stuff I think is cool with other people. Like that's the thing I enjoy the most. So yeah, I was like, guys, you gotta get it. You gotta see this.
You guys from the north that maybe not had a michelada, you gotta have one if you get the opportunity. So.
If you don't, if you have never heard that word before, Google it.
Google it, and you'll find out what it is. Yeah, I had no idea what it was. So, and I'm there in Southern California, and I'm like, what is this?
They know. I mean, they've got tacos down to a science.
Yeah, they do.
And the fact that we're already talking about where we're going to get them in January.
Oh, right.
That's the other thing you guys need to understand. Like, when I got into this group chat, and we were talking about this before, Philip from 40 Watt Podcast basically orchestrated this whole thing.
He did.
I got added to it because Jason Mays was nice enough to be like, oh, if you're going, some other creators are going, let's get together. So we hop in this group chat, and then everybody kind of hits it off. Like we had been talking for about a month before we actually.
Yeah, we did. We had a great chat going.
And then we had an amazing week. Everybody got along. And so like this week, I actually had to change the name of the group chat from 2025 NAMM House to 2026 NAMM House.
2026 NAMM House.
Because it's happening again.
I saw you did that. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Oh, what a great time. No, the NAMM House was just, what a blast. And it was great to get to know everybody. And, and some of the people in that house I've only known from their content.
Yeah.
Right. So it was so cool to meet people, And it is amazing when you see, how they are, genuinely who they are.
Yeah.
On their content. Right. And I think that was, to me, that's amazing to see that.
Well, it's even weirder when you meet somebody who you've been consuming their stuff, and like them as a person is like, it's just not the same.
Right. Yeah, right. That's weird. That's weird when that happens. Right.
And I definitely had a couple of those moments at NAMM this year, but like you guys and Philip and the 60 Cycle guys, like the vibe was immaculate from the drop.
That's good vibes.
And Joan from Pedal Playhouse is just as as patient as she could be.
Yeah.
With
she's
the rest
amazing.
of us.
Yeah.
To make sure she didn't get a shout out because Joan rips. But
awesome.
It's gonna be rad, and I'm already just super stoked about it. So,
man, it's gonna be good.
Do you think we'll have to go to In-N-Out this time? I think we're good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That was the other thing.
You saying you don't want to go?
I don't know. Like, so none of us had In-N-Out, so we all went together.
Right, we did.
And I was like, I mean, it was good.
Yeah, it's a little overrated. Let's just be honest.
I don't know how good the burger would have had to be in order for it to have lived up to the hype. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree with you there. I also feel like In-N-Out's been around for a long time, but then there's been like this, increase of burger places all over the, we have like a zillion of them in the Boston area. So
Wahlburgers.
There's some I've never been to Wahlburgers.
I haven't either.
There's a lot of them up here, as you can imagine, although a few of them have started to close. But there's like Five Guys is everywhere, and Shake Shack and Tasty Burger, and all, they're just everywhere you go. And some of them are damn good. And so you're right, like the competition is there now. So it's not like, that In-N-Out's this really special thing. But it was good. I did enjoy it. It was a good experience. 2
words, Culver's.
Yeah. Culver's. Oh, okay. I don't know what that. I don't know what it
Culver's is a it's a Wisconsin-based company.
Oh, okay. All
and
right.
Dude, if you're ever in an area where there is a Culver's, stop. I'm
gonna have to go.
They're better than In-N-Out. I'm saying it.
Are they in Chicago area or no?
I'm not sure. They started popping up down here.
A decent amount. Okay.
But just keep an eye out. Culver's is
Culver. Okay, all right.
They're
check it out.
legit.
Yeah, I'm always up for a burger.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Let's go. In conclusion, like kind of squaring the circle here, the import thing is just it's blowing my mind. So if you haven't tried one of these or all of these models, you really should like take the effort to go and try them out. I think you'll be genuinely surprised and impressed. And I would not be shocked if one of those ends up in my arsenal at some point, because I would love a Falcon, but I can buy 3 of these Falcons for the cost of one of the regular ones.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's a value. It just is.
You can get a black one and a white one for the less than the cost of a single white one.
Think about that.
That's wild.
If you're a Falcon guy, you got to have both. I feel
that's right.
That's just the way to go.
The only one that's like above just a straight white Falcon is the Billy Duffy edition.
Oh yeah, the Billy Duffy
with the silver accents instead of gold.
Very cool.
Those are sick, and
those are sick. Those are great. Those look great.
And every time I pick up a Falcon, the first thing I want to play is like Firewoman or She Sells Sanctuaries.
I was gonna just say She Sells Sanctuary. I did. What a classic song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a killer song. I've done that in many bands, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So what a song.
So check those out by all means.
Yeah.
Now this next topic we're gonna get into. Actually, the guy who submitted this is getting a twofer. He doesn't even know it, because one of the things that we joke about is because we've got the name Coverbandconfidential. There's some sort of cachet, like you can attribute a quote to that and make it sound significant or official. Yeah. So people will email us to say something on the show that they can then clip and use, for promotional purposes. Funny. So he's getting a twofer because he's getting it from 2 different shows.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right. So this comes from Greg, and Greg said he found us as a podcast on YouTube. I'm still blown away that people watch the podcast.
People ask, we didn't do it for the longest time, and people asked us, like, can you guys put this up on YouTube? So now we put it up on YouTube, and it's like, this is crazy. And it's not like a ton of people watch it, but enough people watch it that makes us keep doing it.
It's, as of now, it is 55% of our total listenership.
Crazy. Wow. That's impressive.
It's kind of slowly grown over the years, but yeah, it has usurped everything.
I know that Ryan and Steve do a 60-cycle hum. They didn't always used to do it, and now they've been doing it for years now because, like Ryan said, it's really successful. So, yeah.
Anyway, Greg says, love the podcast. It's really, truly helped our band Cellar Dogs. You can find them at cellardogs.com. The best cover band in the Philly suburbs. What do you think, Matt?
I think... I don't know. Was there a competition in the Philly suburbs that we don't know about? I don't know.
See, this is like copyright and trademark. You have the right of first use.
Right.
They asked first.
Ergo, and they are the best. Therefore, they're the best. Yeah, no, I like that. That's how it works.
This question is awesome. We actually, the pre-show convo went a little longer because I think you and I got sucked into it, just kind of talking through. The question he has is around individual practice. I tend to practice our set list songs exclusively in the days or weeks leading up to a show. Then during the show, and especially during improv jams, I find myself to be less creative and less inspiring. Occasionally, I will focus more on scale exercises and rhythm exercises leading up to a gig, and then I play much better. Question for you is, in your experience, what's the best way to manage your individual practice time to yield the best results for a gig? And I mean, this is one of those like $1 million questions, really.
It really is, man. Yeah, this is a tough one. It's interesting that he says that when he doesn't focus on, the songs or maybe the song structure or whatever he's going to improvise around, that he tends to play a little bit better. Maybe that's because you're kind of freeing up yourself creatively a little bit more and you're doing that. So, like, obviously, this is a very individualized thing. Like, me personally, I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to rehearse a lot of things. So, like we talked about in the pre-show, like I don't really do a lot of improv at all with my band, and I tend to just do the rehearsed stuff, and that works great for us, and it's great, and it's comfortable, and it's awesome. If you are in more of an improv-y type of situation, then for me, how I would approach that would probably be different than what's going on here, but. I would say, like, I would come up with some ideas that you want to hit, right?
Yeah.
Like he says he's less creative. Well, then, you have all this time to be creative and think creatively. Do that and kind of think about how you're going to, put that inside what you're going to do, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, come up with some, like, themes or ideas or a motif or something that you can put inside that improv. That's how I would approach it.
Right.
But, every player is a little bit different there. It sounds like he's a little bit better not going down that road and just focusing on the skills, I guess, associated. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the only downside is that I'm kind of in the same boat as you as far as the thing that I enjoy. The thing that I enjoy when I'm thinking about practice is the idea that the stuff is just coming out and that I'm not having to think about it. So in that scenario, the idea of focusing on the songs is what would ultimately give me what I would consider the best experience.
I would agree with you.
That being said, I've been in situations where improvisation is a big part of it because either that's the way that the band operates or there's not a lot of time to prep. And so there's just going to be, we're stretching songs out and everybody gets their own 4 bars or 8 bars. Right. And so those are times where I would lean more into not even improvisational, because guitar players, as much as we want to think that we're clever or, creating things out of thin air, what most people are doing are they're just stringing bits and bobs of things that they've picked up.
It's a library of licks.
Yeah.
And you're just putting them together. Right.
So kind of like what you were saying, that when I'm staring at the barrel of that kind of stuff, what I will try and do is find motifs, little riffs, little licks, things that I'm kind of obsessing over or think are interesting, and work on those just kind of to tuck them back in your head to throw into something. The example that I gave was that I was doing this wedding gig where it was a total throw together thing. I hadn't met any of the other folks in the band until 2 hours before downbeat. And so like everybody's soloing because we got to fill the time. So we're playing a song that I've never played before. God. And I realized that like, oh, well, this is kind of the same tempo and it's in the same key as Hard to Handle by the Black Crowes. So when it's my turn, I just play the solo over.
Solo from Hard to Handle.
Why not? Why not? When I did a looping gig, I tried to see how many songs I could sneak the Sir Duke riff into.
That's fun.
So yeah, if you're doing these like long kind of washy looping things, and just see boom, ba-doo-doo, do-doo-doo, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, why not?
Why not do it? It's fun. Well, it's fun. Like I said, it's fun for the musicians.
Yeah,
and that's maybe the audience isn't going to necessarily know, but it's fun for you.
So that's the next part of this.
That's
we really
the next
figure
piece.
Out. So, we're talking about a cover band, ostensibly, where if we're thinking about, like, we're slicing the night or your gig into a pie, what percentage of your show is that improvisational jammy part? You know?
Right. Yeah.
In most bands, that's like a section. Like they'll do maybe 2 or 3 songs where they're gonna stretch out a portion of the of that tune and kind of let everybody take a pass. You know?
Right. Like maybe it's like a blues song where there's some space, or it's like a Grateful Dead type of jammy song. Like I get the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So in those scenarios, though, what you're dealing with is a very small portion of the gig, and looking at it objectively, like it doesn't make much sense to devote all of your energy to the smallest portion of the show. And I think a lot of that boils, because what he said is that I played much better. But what does that mean?
For how long? Is it the whole gig?
Well, and what is better?
Right.
If it's practicing in precision, is it because you have those concepts kind of front of mind, you're executing more solidly? Because that's one thing. Not necessarily the improvisational part, but like I was really focusing on my right hand technique this week, and like my rhythm parts are real crispy at this gig. Maybe it's that.
Yeah. Right.
And in that scenario, like I think that's good. Like I think that would be something worth focusing on. If the skills and concepts that you're practicing are going to improve the entire performance in that way, that would be worthwhile to pursue. Practice-wise.
Yeah.
But if it's the improvisational part, I'm not so sure. I would lean way more on practicing the songs and the rhythms and the structures and just like getting that just as deep into muscle memory as possible so that you can execute whatever else you're doing.
Yeah. I think that's right, Adam. The other thing that is sad for musicians is that, you know, I would say like normal audiences, like not like crazy, like fans of music, which, let's be honest, if we're doing cover band gigs, that's kind of what you're getting. You're not getting like the musos that are coming to these gigs. Yeah, there's maybe a few in there, but like they're not going to be so focused on like crazy, virtuosity on your instrument, right? Like they're going to be more interested in like, is this band like, what's going on with the beats? Is the band like really tight? You know, I think that's probably comes across a little bit more than just like virtuosic playing.
Yeah.
Right. And that is don't get me wrong. Like that is a part of virtuosic playing. Like if you can be really tight and together as a band, like that is, but at the same time, like, you know, I'm more referring to like crazy solos, like, you know, how many scales can you play? Like how many different polyrhythms and different things can you put into it? Like that, like most of the time that's going to go over people's heads. Right. So you're probably putting too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So
now the other idea there is that when you as a player kind of feel like you're in the zone, like that's going to impact your demeanor on stage. Right. If you suck and you're not professional like I am and you just like wear your emotions like immediately.
That's right. If you make a face when you screw something up and look back at your bass player like I do. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, you know, when the band's having fun, when they're having a good time, that reads, you know?
Definitely reads.
So there is a component to that where maybe the audience doesn't care about that particular part, but if executing that particular part makes you feel good, then the audience will benefit from it in other ways, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's this interesting kind of balance of like, what is the ultimate goal? Is it to feel creatively engaged? Is that the goal? Is it to play your parts as perfectly as you possibly can? Is that the goal? Is it to have fun? Is that the goal? Each of those particular goals have very different paths to get to for the most part.
I think that's a great point, Adam. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, we record every show, and a lot of not every single show that we listen back to, because it's a little bit of work for the guy that does it to be able to like get it into a format that we can have and all this. So we don't do it every show as we used to, but you would listen to a recording of the show, and there's absolutely times where I've listened to stuff and either my singing isn't exactly where I wanted it to be, or maybe the guitar part I played wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be. But like that show was incredible and the audience was having an amazing time. So like you might look back, you might think of like look back on that and you remember just having a great time. And then you listen to the recording, you're like, oh, maybe that wasn't my best effort that I put in. But then like the crowd was going insane. You got invited back, like everything positive was about the show. So I think that's another thing. Like you got to keep that in mind. Like, sometimes that like just having the perfect performance in your head is not the most important thing either. Right. Like that's what it is. And like you said, Adam, like, that does play into, if you feel like you're not doing great in the moment, that's going to come across on stage. We do want to avoid that. But like, sometimes we do put too much pressure on ourselves and we have to that's a balance that we have to strike. Yes, we want to be good. We don't want to cringe when we listen back to recordings ever. That's the goal. But sometimes it's like, maybe, it wasn't the best stuff you had, but in the end, the gig was great. Right. So, I mean, that happens too. So
yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to this, and what I expect is I'll get a follow-up email, and he'd be like, "This is what I meant,"
Yeah,
So
that's right. Then we have to re-answer it. Yeah.
At some point, like I hope that we hit the target on what he's actually looking for, but in the meantime, maybe what we were saying resonated with somebody else. So that's ultimately what we're after. It was such a cool question.
It is a cool question. And I think it's different. Like I said, it's such an individual thing for everybody. Like we talk about it a lot in my band about like, how do you guys prepare? Do you listen to the recordings and play along with them? Do you listen to the original songs and play along with them? Like everybody does it slightly different way. Right. So it's tough. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, when we're not onboarding new material and I have time to practice, what I will typically do is I will sit with my guitar, play the original song and not play.
And not play.
Yeah. So I'm
just
going
listen
through,
to it. Yeah.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm basically going through the parts in my head.
Okay.
This is what I play here. And then I listen to see if whether that is there or maybe it's something that I've just kind of like made up over time.
Right. I've done that 100%.
And so maybe I need to like swing back towards, the other side.
Yeah. I think as cover artists, it is important to go back to the original song, unless you're doing a crazy version that is your own interpretation of it, which we do a handful of those as well. But like, I think it is good to ground yourself in the original song, like you said. And I'll do that occasionally and I'll pick up on things, just like you said. Maybe I'm playing, I'm playing a part that isn't there and doesn't need to be there because it's not in the original song. Or maybe I'm just like, maybe I just didn't play it in the right time or whatever, right? So yeah, I think that's a good way to do it as cover artists. I think it's smart to do that, to ground yourself. But I think if you do have recordings of your band, which I would recommend you have recordings of your band. I mean, if you're not doing that, like, you should be doing that. Let's just, I don't care how you get it. Even if you have to do it on your phone, you have to have a sense of what's going on there. I once was in a band with somebody and they were like, I've never been in a band that records all their rehearsals and like has you think back and improve it. I'm like, really? Like you've never been in a band that listened to their rehearsals back and asked people to listen to their parts and improve their parts?
Just say you were in a band that sucked.
I was going to say that person didn't last long in the band for obvious reasons. Cause it was like, I think this sounds good. It's like everybody in the band doesn't think it sounds good. So you got to change what you're doing. But I also think like listening back to those recordings, I even gone so far as to pull my own part out of the recording with the band and play along with that and sing along with that. As a singer, I think that's really important too, especially if there's harmonies in there. I can practice that as well. So that's a great way to do it.
All right. One last question. This is one that came up in our Patreon group that is just kind of like a fun exercise. So if I guess the overarching category is market notwithstanding, meaning this doesn't have to be a widely accepted, successful project, whatever. What cover or tribute would you do? Here, I'll go first. See if that helps.
You go first. Oh, go ahead.
If I could, I would do a band that does nothing but punk covers of like pop songs.
Awesome.
So just, take whatever song you want to play and just do it.
That's fun.
Louder and faster.
Yeah, that's fun. I've thought about this before. So I'm a big fan of U2. And I feel like my vocal style is similar to the Bono style. It used to be, maybe not so much anymore now that I've been in this kind of dance, a funk band for a while. But I would love to do a U2 tribute. I'd love to do a Petty tribute. I'd love to do a Bon Jovi tribute, although I don't think my voice has the juice for that like it used to. But I love that kind of stuff. I'd love to be there's actually a really good kind of 80s hair band tribute around me locally that plays. I've yet to see them, but I've heard like clips of them and stuff. I'd love to be in a band like that. Yeah. Again, I don't really have the vocal juice for that, but I don't know, just to be a part of it would be fun. Like it's just like so much fun. So just something kind of metally and 80s tinged. Yeah, like 80s tinged, like 80s hair band kind of thing is what I'd be into. Like, just play all those kind of cheesy songs. Yeah. Like Jovi and Poison and Def Leppard and all that.
So basically you just want to be the other guitar player in my band.
Yes, I want to be the other guitar player in your band. That's what I want to be. Yeah, right. Because you can sing all that stuff, Adam. Yeah. So that's which I can't. So
well. Yeah, we rehearse on Thursdays. I don't know how you're going to make it down.
It's going to be a tough flight commute every Thursday. Yeah, but that's a fun. Yeah, that's a fun gig. That would be fun. But I also like there's something like I have like this. Like it's not like I'm like this giant Petty fan, but I just feel like it would be a great tribute band to be in. I just think like the songs, like the kind of vibes you would get. Oh yeah, I don't would just be incredible. So. Yeah, it's going to a Petty show was just kind of like a unique experience because it had a kind of rock energy to it, but it did kind of have this like kind of hippy dippy kind of vibe to it also. And there's a little bit of improv in it. Speaking of improv, there's some parts you can stretch out like he did, like the band did, if you listen to some of the live stuff. So, I'm slightly stealing this idea from Philip Carter because he really wants to do this and I think he's actively trying to do it. But like the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that'd be a cool, like if it isn't the 80s thing, it'd probably be that for me. I'm also a giant Zeppelin fan, but like that's just been there. It's just been done so much. It's hard to do it really, really well. Yeah. So, but I'd love to be in a Zeppelin tribute as well, of course. Nice. So that's always like the best tell. I'm like, what is it you actually like? Yeah, that's what I would. Yeah, right. So there you go. That's what I like. In cover bands, we're like, well, we like the songs that other people like. It's like, okay, but like, what would it be? What would you want to play? Yeah. What would you want? If you didn't listen to this show and didn't know all of the things that we talk about, like, what is the vanity project that you would run into the ground in your local market? There's actually a band that does. I would call them like they're not really even a cover band around here locally, and they pack any place they play. They've actually starting to expand. Like they've been around for like 40 years or so. Jeez. They're called Fortune. If you're in this area, in the Boston area, you probably know who they are if you're like a music fan. And they basically like a classic rock kind of tribute is what they are. And the guy, he must be getting up there in years, and his voice is incredible. You know what he does? As a man, he sings heart songs. Like he'll do the heart hits as a guy, and it's just unbelievable. It's sick, and they're just like, I'd love to be in a band like they are, and the guys are just killing it on the guitars. There's two guitarists, so good. I'd love to be in a kind of band like that as well. Though I was actually in a band like that for a while, and it's tough to get traction with that type of a thing because it's a specific audience. Well, but not only that, there's so many people doing it. Yeah, you're just like one of the sea You're just noise unless you're like extraordinary. Right, exactly. And these guys are just extraordinary, so, they're the ones doing it, but incredible stuff. Well, listen, man, I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you. You bailed me out. You bailed Dan out, whether you know it or not. Well, thanks for having me. And just for you guys to kind of process, but my goal is to get as many of the NAMM house folks either on our show or go on their show, just kind of promote what everybody else is doing.
We as a show are all about abundance. We're always like, there's more than enough to go around. So we're always wanting to blow folks up that, are doing good work. And if you are sick of hearing me and Dan talk, you should probably just take a break and go check out Guitar Dads instead.
Yeah, if you want to hear what us talk about, especially if you're a guitar player, which it sounds like you have a lot of guitar players listening.
Yeah. The cool thing about our show, though, is that I can talk about sound stuff,
talk about anything,
production.
right.
Yeah, so the net's a lot wider.
That's great.
Because like some weeks there's just not guitar crap to talk about.
We run into that too. That's why we do get into some industry stuff. Like we love to talk about Ticketmaster.
Yep.
And like talk about Spotify. We do get into that kind of stuff as well. So if you're really not a gear guy, but you still kind of want, or a gear person, I should say, and you want to listen to a podcast, you could try it out. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't.
Well, if you do, be sure to leave a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice. But Matt, if people did want to check you out, what's the best way to keep up with what you've got going on?
So at Guitar Dads Podcast, pretty much everywhere, Instagram. I think we're going on X, Twitter/X, over Facebook. We have a Facebook group as well that has a good community of people, so you could join that at Guitar Dads Podcast on Facebook, and then you can find us in Guitar Dads Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts.
Fantastic.
So check us out.
One thing I will say is that you guys and the guitar memes are outstanding.
Oh, thank you. We love our memes. We worship at the throne of Chibson.
Yeah. And but I mean, there have been times where I have to check my feed. It's like, is this a Chibson post or is this one of y'all's?
Is this a Guitar Dads? We do. Dave and I, we sit around and try to come up with stuff. It's kind of crazy. We haven't done that lately, but when inspiration hits, we're texting each other. We're like, you got to do this one. Yeah, thanks. Glad you like those.
Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Couldn't do it without you. If you like support the show, you can do any of the things that you're about to hear. But I'll go ahead and call it for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
I'm Matt from Guitar Dads.
And you've been listening to the Coverbandconfidential podcast for the week of October 3rd, 2025. 2025, yes.